So I made a surprising list of movies that I thought, were really surprising to me in 2014. And now it's time to make a list of movies that disappointed me a lot in 2014. I walked into these movies thinking, oh, I'm going to really like this. I can't wait to see this. And I walked out thinking, that sucks that this movie was not that great. I was disappointed by this. So let's get started for the most disappointing movies of 2014. The first movie that comes to my mind is earlier in the year is The Monuments Men. It's supposed to release in 2013 December. We didn't get it till 2014 in February, and had a pretty great cast with a great story, directed by George Clooney, also starring George Clooney, Matt Damon, John Goodman, Bill Murray, and many more. And I was truly excited for this. I liked how it looked, and it was the story, and directed by George Clooney, but it was long, overdrawn, boring, dull. The characters didn't offer much to the story, and that's why it's one of the first movies of this year that I thought was very boring and disappointing. Noah is the next movie, which stars Russell Crowe and is directed by Darren Aronofsky, that I was very disappointed by. I was going into this thinking, oh, it's gonna be really great. Even though I'm not biblical, I'm still really looking forward to this. It looks really awesome. Excited to see how they handle the ship at sea with everybody and the animals. But it was just something that I was very confused about with all the creatures, the rock creatures, and I know a little bit about the story of Noah and everything that had happened at the end. I was just kind of confused of what was going on. So with that, I was a bit disappointed by Noah. Transcendence. Now, Transcendence is not only a very disappointing movie, but a very bad movie too. With the cinematographer, I believe, from movies from Christopher Nolan is directing this, starring Johnny Depp, and him being a computer. It was just so fucking boring. It's just like Lucy, where you have this great premise of something that you can expand on with the mind, and it just fell short really quick and just lost my interest so fast. Now, Maleficent is a film that, it has some pretty good CGI and special effects, but that just can't hold up this movie. Maleficent is very disappointing. I thought Angelina Jolie did a great job as Maleficent, but everything else just made the character stupid. I see Maleficent as an evil person, an evil Disney character, and they made her seem sweet and tried to add too much of a backstory to the character Maleficent, and affected how she reacted to Aurora and why she did what she did. But the story was boring. Then it focused way too much on certain scenes of making Angelina Jolie like sweet and caring for Aurora, and I just did not like this movie at all. Jersey Boys. Jersey Boys, directed by Clint Eastwood, looked beautiful. The trailers, oh my god, I was so excited to see this. And you kind of had like the same style of The Wolf of Wall Street, talking into the camera and talking to the audience. And I was truly excited to see Jersey Boys. I love their songs, and it just lost everything in this movie, from the characters to the timeline, everything about it. And, I just was so focused on the music. It was fun at times, but also, dull, and too much of the relationship and it falling apart, not much of it having fun. And so Jersey Boys makes this list for most disappointing movies of the year. Deliver Us from Evil was another film I was really looking forward to, and I just completely forgot that it was even released during the summer. Had some decent jump scares. I was looking forward to it because of Sinister. It tried to juggle between being a family drama and an exorcism and a movie about past demon crap, and just a bunch of things that I think it just lost itself trying to juggle all these moments and trying to make it into one film. Expendables 3, 1, 2, great, 3, PG-13, I think that's where everybody was disappointed. First off, not enough blood, and you have the great action stars, the older action stars that, they promised to you that they were going to be in this film and it's going to be fun. No, they're not in the film. They focus too much on these young actors, which sucked. Box Trolls is another disappointing film. I loved Paranorman, I loved Coraline, but I was highly disappointed with Box Trolls. Box Trolls lost all its charm that the first two films, Coraline and Paranorman, had. You know, the film did look beautiful just like the previous two, but it didn't bring that charm. It didn't make me laugh. I didn't care about the characters. The voice cast was good, but everything else I was just not into. Oh my god, Men, Women, and Children was so dull. I did not care about this film so much. I was dozing in and out of the film, and you know, I was really looking forward to it. I liked Labor Day, and this, it seemed like, had a pretty good premise to it, you know, but it just had so many cast members, and it just, they lost screen time, and you know, trying to go back and forth between all these storylines and narration. Oh my god, it was dull, it was boring, and just didn't offer much to the storyline as a whole. Now we're getting into some of the films that I was highly anticipating, and they were all disappointing. Let's talk about Horrible Bosses 2. Horrible Bosses 2 took everything from the first film and made it crap. I really liked the first Horrible Bosses film, and you adding Chris Pine into here, I think he was okay in the film, but they just took too much of the things from the first film and tried to expand it in the second film, and this time around everybody was annoying. When Charlie Day, Jason Sudeikis, and Jason Bateman were talking together, I got annoyed fast. Hunger Games, Mockingjay, did not like this film at all. It focused way too much on the media and trying to sell this war and propaganda, and not enough action, which makes the first two Hunger Games really well, and that there was no relationship. I haven't read the book, so I don't know exactly what is going on. So, you know, focusing too much on the propaganda and selling this war and expanding and stretching out one book into two movies is a fine example of why we should not be doing this. Exodus: Gods and Kings is a really amazing looking film. I will give it that. But the performances and the relationship is what lost me. I think that Joel Edgerton and Christian Bale had great chemistry together, but it was beginning and the end, and that's it. In the middle of the film is where they just took it and tried to make it all long and not care about anything. The scenes that should have been important were quick. The scenes that weren't important were long, and everything in the middle was just not needed. The Hobbit, the Battle of the Five Armies, was disappointing. It was quick, had some great action, but I just did not care about the characters and the whole idea of trying to take over this mountain. It seemed a bit childish to me at times, and so with that, no acting and this childish plot led me to be very disappointed by this film. Into the Woods, I gotta say, is probably one of the most disappointing films of the year for me. I was highly anticipating this film. I love musicals. I love to see what they could do with this musical, make it a Disney film, directed by Rob Marshall, who directed Chicago. Has a pretty awesome cast going for it, but a lot of the film was depressing. The last 30 minutes of the film made the last whole part of the movie not necessary, and it was two separate stories. It had a restricted setting, decent performances, but everything just was way too long, and I just thinking, they're just keep on going with this film, just end. This is probably one of the films this whole entire year that I just wanted it to end. I just wanted it to be over with. So these are some of the films that I thought were rather disappointing this year. These were films I was going into thinking, yes, I cannot wait to see this, and I come out thinking, God damn it, I wish this film was a lot better.